This is the funnest night ever!
Yeah, quit yanking our anuses!
Two people get together, do something social, have a few drinks, yada yada yada.
It's called Two Brothers. Two Brothers. It's just called Two Brothers.
Welcome to Two Brothers.
Do it again.
Welcome to Two Brothers.
There you go.
I am Alberto,
I am Edgar.
and be sure to like and subscribe to keep yourself notified for when there's more episodes of Two Brothers.
What's going on with you? You're not so... Come on, we're going to talk about one of the best shows that came out this year, man.
It's not a very fucking happy show. That's not what's wrong, though. Everything's fine.
All right, go.
I'm going to have to redo that now because you kind of fucking... Okay, hold on. It's been a while, so I gotta kind of... It's another episode of Two Brothers, and we are going to be talking about one of the best video game adaptations put on the silver screen.
Wait, is this the new intro?
But before we get into all of that, please make sure that you like, subscribe on YouTube so that you can get all these episodes when they drop. Same thing to follow our socials. It's called Two Bros. And, you know, give us a review if you get the chance on wherever you're listening to us.
Yeah.
This is Two Brothers.
Two Brothers, and it's been an episode, guys.
It's been a while since we recorded, and we have been watching The Last of Us for the past month and a half, almost 2 months now at this point.
Almost 2 months.
And we have decided to hold off on our review until the whole season has been done. The time of this recording, it's already Monday, so the whole season is out. I'm pretty sure everybody's watched it. And the whole fucking world knows about The Last of Us now at this point.
Yeah.
But I and my brother here have been... We've known about The Last of Us even when it was supposed to be like a movie and Sam Raimi was going to be attached to it.
Yeah, that long ago.
It's been rumored for a while that it was going to be in as a fucking movie, and then it was like, or it's going to be a TV show. HBO was going to pick up on it. Now, at least me personally, I didn't see a reason for it to be turned into a movie or a TV show. I thought the game was perfect. It was already cinematic. It didn't need to be adapted. But now that it convinced me otherwise that it did need to be put on screen because it is one of the best video game stories of all time, I think. It's up there.
Best storytelling of all time.
And for anyone who's going to be like, oh, well, I haven't played The Last of Us or watched the show, maybe don't watch this or listen to this episode.
By this time, you should already at least play the show, or play the game, or watch the show, man. It's like the most talked about shit now.
We're gonna spoil it. I think that's already fucking a given at this point. If you listen to our podcast, we've always spoiled shit whenever we review stuff because we're not gonna fucking be like, there's gonna be one section and then another. We're gonna dive into this shit, okay?
Yeah.
So, before we talk about the TV show, let's just talk about how great the fucking game is. Because The Last of Us, I don't think we've even talked about it on this pod. We talked about the second one, but that's a whole different can of worms. But the first game came out in 2013, and I was just fucking... You were there when you saw me play it. The first 15 minutes of it, oh my god, it's one of the best intros to a fucking video game ever. I'm not asking if you remember. I'm just saying you were there. I know you were there.
Well, hold on. If I don't remember, I remember we went to the fucking midnight launch to go pick it up. That's how fucking excited we were. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we came home, saw you play the first 15 minutes, and we were in for a fucking treat for a fucking game here. Okay.
Yeah. No, you're right. And it came out right at the tail end of PS3.
There's a lot of fucking in this episode.
We're gonna be cursing all the time. It's not new, and man, it was such a fucking good game. and afterwards, I was like, all right. I mean, that was a great game from Naughty Dog. I don't know if we need another. And then they announced the second one like in 2017, 2018, I think. It was announced, and I was kind of just a bit confused. I was like, I don't know why they're doing this. And then there was talks about a TV show or like a movie, and I was like, I don't want it. Like, I don't need it. And then we started seeing the photos of, you know, like the set and behind the scenes, and we got the trailer. I'm speeding through a lot of this shit, but you know, we got Pedro Pascal was casted, Bella Ramsey from Game of Thrones, and we were like, okay, we'll give this a shot. They got some good actors attached to it. The director and creator of the Chernobyl was attached to it, and you know, he did a fucking amazing job on that.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Druckmann was a part of it, and we're telling you all of this because it's important for you to know these things, because that's what made this quite possibly the best video game, TV show, movie, whatever the fuck you want to call it, adaptation that's out there. And I don't think that can be argued anymore. Because before you had like, oh, Sonic was good, and then you had fucking Mortal Kombat, you know, the original. We both enjoyed the remake, but now The Last of Us kind of blew all of it out of the water.
Well, leading up to the release of the show, we had, you know, doubts about it, you know, because, yeah, for some reason, no one seemed to crack the fucking code how to make video games adapted to movies or shows or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we had that slight doubt because, yeah, it's known to fucking turn out to be not that great.
Well, not just not that great. They were fucking terrible, a lot of them.
But goddamn, did it fucking...
It delivered, man.
Yeah.
It delivered. And, well, I mean, let's get into it. You know, it follows the video game pretty closely. I would say like 90% of it is of the same game. And they expand a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, a lot better than the game could have done. You know, so it opens up the same way as the game. You know, you got the whole horrific, like, fucking, you know, intro that you see in the video game. That I was a little bit, like, apprehensive at first. I was like, I don't know how they can pull this off because the video game's intro was so fucking great. But, yeah, man, it really does set up the journey ahead and how intense it's gonna fucking be.
Mm-hmm.
And from there we get the whole like backstory of like Joel, and like in this pandemic he lost his daughter in this post-apocalyptic world. He's with Tess. It's like everything that you and I know about the video game.
I would say like the very first episode was like 100% the video game.
Yeah.
Beat by beat, kinda, you know, like, but they added new things into it.
We saw a little bit of what happened before
Yeah.
shit hit the fan, which we didn't get to see in the game.
We get to see more of Sarah.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And like key moments leading up to the intro of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the first hour or so, you know,
Yeah.
it follows it pretty well.
Yeah.
Which was
it
like,
does. And dude, once Pedro Pascal started talking, I was like, yeah, he sounds just like Joel, you know?
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared for how much they would make him more fleshed out, if that makes sense. Because I'm not saying he wasn't in the games, but in the show, it's like they added another layer to his character. You know, and we'll get into it in a little bit here, but we get the setup, and then the second episode kind of breezes through all the gameplay parts, which is, it kind of felt weird seeing them kind of skip through some of the moments that you go through in the game, which makes sense because no one wants to see like 15 minutes of people just killing infected and shit. But Tess dies in the third episode. Or is it the second episode? Right. So it's like already we're like you're hit with this fucking huge character death. Like someone who hasn't played the games will probably think Tess is gonna survive, but we know she wasn't. But they handle her death very differently too in the game.
Calm down there, brother. Okay, you're going too fast. The second episode introduced a lot of things. And you're over here fucking talking.
I was gonna get into it. I'm not fucking just. We were gonna get into it.
They opened up in China. No, just kidding. In India, right? I think it was in India.
Yeah.
They talked to this doctor and talk about what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, is there any way to control this or get rid of it or blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was basically fucking bombed the place.
Because there's no way to fix this shit.
And that's how they opened the second episode.
That was like the cold open, yeah.
And I was like, God damn, okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And shit, we forgot they did that with the first episode too. That cold open of like that was like in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And they were doing the interview and they were talking about the same thing. Well, that was really
the guy was saying, well, what's the next pandemic or what's the next, danger for
humanity?
Humans? Yeah.
It's like it's cordyceps and like it fucking controlling people and
stuff like that.
We're only this much away from it happening, and like damn, it really did set the tone. They were like fuck, and it feels like it could happen,
They introduced something new instead of the spores.
It's cordyceps, not spores this time.
What do they call that?
They said the reason why they couldn't do spores is because it just feels like for the actor's sake, they couldn't have them fucking gas masks for like a good portion of the time, because realistically spores are fucking everywhere if we were if they were gonna go down that route. So instead they chose like tendrils, little tendrils. And that's how they communicate, and that's what Tess says.
And that's how they can, I guess, find you and stuff like that.
Like if Tess says like if you like kind of step on a cordyceps from like 15 miles away, they can hear you and they'll come chasing you. I was like, that's fucking, and you see that happen too later in the game or in the show. So that was something that was pretty cool, and like, that works not just for the show, but I kind of wish that's what they would have done for the game too.
Didn't you say that was the original idea?
I think it was the original idea anyways.
Dude, they introduced the clickers in the second episode.
Almost exactly how you would encounter them in the game.
The only reason I can say that it does is because during the time, when those two episodes came out, I started playing the what do you want to call it? The remake? Of the first one?
Yeah, the remake. We'll call it the 4K version.
So I was, I got to that part and I stopped and watched the second episode, and it was like beat by beat kind of,
Yeah.
It was kind of cool to see that.
I really liked that part because it was so intense, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the prosthetics and how because it was all practical. It wasn't like CGI, and they even had the fucking actors the voice actors who did the clicker sounds.
Oh, they came back. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
and they did it for the show. So then we saw Tess's death happen, which was wildly different from the video game. In the game she was like attacked by raiders.
That's what I was expecting to happen.
Then it didn't,
but they changed it.
It was like an infected and goes up to her and like basically speeds up the process.
Wait, they stepped on the whatever.
I think she did, right?
I think she did.
Yeah, and then after that, so that's the thing that I liked about so far with those two episodes is that they stuck really true to the source material. And like I've told you this before, not too long ago.
Oh my god!
That like with Resident Evil, for example, they fucking introduce a character that's not in the video games, and you're like, this is not the fucking video game I grew up with, and it's like it turns you off when they do shit like that. In the Last of Us, the TV show, not only did they stick true to the source material, but they added shit that you appreciated, that you never think to appreciate. Like, damn, like they're really fucking doing it justice. Like I wasn't concerned after the second episode that they were gonna that this was gonna be a great show. And then the third episode, we were introduced to Bill's character,
Bill Compton.
I don't think we know his last name.
No,
right?
we don't, or maybe we do. I don't know.
Well, now you said Compton, and I can't fucking. But that's like the biggest deviation from the games.
Oh, this episode, yes.
So it's hinted in the game that he had a partner with him, and that he's gay.
Mm-hmm.
But in the show, that's confirmed.
That he.
And for anyone who hasn't played the video games, this was like a complete 180
for the character.
Not for the character, but for how we're introduced to the character.
Yeah.
You know? And you played the remake while we watched the show.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said it too, like he wasn't an asshole.
I appreciated more the TV version of Bill than the. And it makes sense because in the TV show, like you said, they give more backstory.
Mm-hmm.
They give more build up to the character and all this.
Yep.
This one, you're introduced to a grumpy fuck and
it's
and that's it.
Yeah, and you can get little hints of not even hints.
Uh-huh.
In the game, he was just a straight up fucking asshole. Like, I think he tells Joel in the game after you're done with that whole Bill section.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're
get the fuck out of my town.
Yeah,
like, just
like
something like that.
Like, you're gonna fucking die and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't wish him luck or anything.
Yeah.
Like, but in the TV show, like, Bill is jaded.
But
At first, but when we introduced to Frank, which I like the way that we're introduced to Frank. Like, he gets caught in one of his traps and everything, and that's the thing I wasn't expecting though with this episode was how fucking emotional it was. Like, and also before we get more into a little bit into the
hold on, in the game, it was mostly a town that he owned, right?
Yeah.
And this one made more sense. It was more like a community, that he gated and took care of, and that made more sense and more grounded that someone like that would
be able to do that.
Yeah, were able to do that.
Like in the game, you know that Bill's like a fucking prepper.
Yeah.
But in the show, they really show you that, like, oh no, this guy was always like this.
Yeah.
Even before the pandemic, he was waiting for this moment. You know, he's living for this moment. You know, he was waiting for it. But like I was saying, I wasn't expecting him to die in this in the show, because he doesn't die in the game. We meet him, we go through that section, we get the car battery for the truck and all that. But in the show, it's all spent with Bill and Frank. Like at some point, I was like, because we do get to see Joel in the flashback, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, when is Joel and Ellie gonna show up? You know, and they don't show up till the very end, and that's after he and Frank die. Which trigger warning and spoiler, like they.
You okay? Hold on. Okay. Frank is diagnosed with some disease, right? Or like
yeah, I don't know what it was. I know people theorized what it was, but
it's never mentioned in the show. I think, but he's unable to walk now, and Bill's taking care of him. You get to see that he, in his spare time, he paints and this and that. And Frank, right, tells him, I don't want to live anymore. I want to go in my own terms, and I want you to fulfill that for me, blah, blah, blah. So they spent the whole time, doing everything they liked to do, together.
Yeah.
And in the dinner, I guess it's shown that Bill ends up taking his own life with his partner.
Yeah, which was that's what I didn't expect to. But at the same time, you're like, after spending the entire episode with them, it's like I don't see how Bill wouldn't go through with that. So I wasn't I was surprised, but not at the same time.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Now you can go with
No, you already fucking ruined it. You explained
all right, so
everything.
then after that, I guess it's been a couple days since they.
Or we don't really know how long. They didn't really explain. We don't even see their bodies. They could have been fucking skeletons at that point.
Well, yeah, but let's say, yeah, okay. And that's when, I was about to say Troy Baker, Joel and Ellie show up.
Mm-hmm.
They go through the house, and I guess Bill left a note for them. You know, asking, like, hey, this is what happened, and blah, blah, blah. You can take whatever we have, and this and that, you know. And, yeah, we never get to see or really, you know, like
well, now I'm gonna fucking stop you there.
Right.
We get the letter from Bill
That's what
that
I'm
Joel
saying.
reads too, and foreshadows kind of like what, like basically foreshadows the ending. Basically, you know,
Mhm.
like how Bill was telling Joel that he didn't think he had anything to live for, and then he found the love of his life, and like that's worth fighting
Mhm.
for. And as someone who's played the games, you know that that's something that's gonna happen later on. Like Joel's gonna mirror that.
Mhm.
But I thought that was very, you know, really cool, you know, and emotional, and I don't know, and that's totally not the Bill that I know in the game.
Yeah.
So that was really surprising to see. We're not crying. And then following, do you have anything else to say about episode 3? Or
No, I think it was one of the good ones, one of the bad ones, one of the good ones.
okay, you don't know what the fuck you're saying.
I say it's one of my favorite episodes, to be honest. Even though nothing like action packed happened, you just get to know the characters, you know, Frank
Mhm.
and Bill, and I really liked how they fleshed them out more here than the game. You know,
Yeah.
you feel like they both fucking hated each other at a certain point. You know, in the game, I mean,
Mhm.
in this one, they loved each other to the very end. You
Yeah.
know, they didn't how do you say hated each other. You know, so yeah.
And then episode 4, we get to see a bit more of Ellie and Joel's dynamic as they're traveling to Kansas.
Again, another
Uh,
key moment in here is when they get in the truck, and Ellie, you know, gets the
Oh.
tape and
Yeah,
the
a callback to the
magazine, yeah.
games and all of that.
Again,
which was
love that.
It
you
was
know?
like a 101 recreation of the video game, which
Yeah.
is really cool. That just also tells you how good the game is that the show didn't bother rewriting or anything. Like when they saw
Mhm.
something that was good, they just pulled it from the game, like just as a, you know, fuck, what's the word I'm looking for? They just pulled it, like, you know,
Mhm.
ripped it straight out of the game, which is really cool. So they go to Kansas, which is different from the game, because in the game they go to Boston.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
So we get one of the more intense scenes or episodes where we finally get to see Joel. You know, kind of basically we see him how fucking like a savage he is. You know, when he kills those raiders and murders that one kid. This is basically a kid compared to Joel.
Mhm.
He shows no mercy, man. Like he really will fucking protect anyone who's with him, and
Mhm.
and he's even said it before. I think later on in the episode or later on in the show, that's like he's been on both sides. You know, he's done those kinds of things before. So you kind of like, and I think even Ellie asks like, "Have you killed people or innocent people?" And he doesn't choose to answer, which basically tells us, yeah, he probably did. And what else happens in the episode? They're trying to get to like a building, like it's like to get more of a view of the city, to know where to
hold on
fucking
there,
go.
dude. You missed a key part for a character for Joel. Yeah, they run away after the attack, because now they're after them. So they jump like they're going to building, right? But they stay in the building for a while, so they talk there. I don't know if Allie brought it up or he brought it up. Is that I think it was Allie who says, like, I noticed that you're deaf in the right ear.
Mm-hmm.
You can barely hear and this and that. I don't know if that was in the last episode. I don't know, but she brings it up, and Joel brings it up too. Is like, I should have heard him coming. You know, he got
Mhm.
attacked from behind with that kid.
Mhm.
You know, he was kind of like surprised. You know, like I should have gotten him. You know, I could have heard him. I mean,
Mhm.
so they have a conversation there about, you know. I think they had that in that scene. They had that conversation like you're glad that I came and no, yeah, that's later on, ain't it?
What?
When Ellie saved his life, remember?
No, that's when I think that's what she did. She stabbed him with the knife, right?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he said that too. So yeah, it was either me or him, right?
Yeah.
In that
I
little,
don't think he said that exactly, but
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, they talk about, you know, if Ellie killed anyone, like stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, like I said, we got to see more of that.
Yeah.
And
But to me, that was like was like one of the key things for Joel that they added was that he's old now. You know, he's losing. Well, you know,
Yeah,
his hearing
that's-
in 1 year.
no, you're right. Because in the game, I mean, they're both the same age in the game and the show, but in the game, he looks way.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't look like his age in the game, but in the show, they really do kind of showed you that, like, yeah, this guy's been through a lot, and
Mhm.
he's older, and he doesn't have a fucking spring to his step, and like he's fucking deaf in 1 ear. Like, he's not the same Joel that you know from the game, which is really cool. You know that they
Mhm.
didn't make him, because I wouldn't necessarily say that he's like a softer character now. It's just
Mhm.
that he's, you know, he doesn't fucking move like he used to.
Yeah.
But he's still got it though. You know, and more than anything, he's like a tactician. You know, he knows where to kind of go, how to hide, and like he knows how to survive, which is very much in line with the character from the game. And it ends.
Jeez, what do you mean it ends?
You cutting me off. I'm not even done with my sentence.
Okay, let's see where you're going.
It ends with them going and finding a spot in this like high-rise building, and then they lay down some glass so that they won't, you know, be ambushed.
Mm-hmm.
But we get the introduction of Henry and Sam at the end.
Yeah, but you missed another one. They introduced
For
a new
fuck's sake.
They introduced a new character.
That we're gonna talk about that in the next episode too.
She was introduced in this one. Remember?
Yeah, I know.
She was interrogating that fucking doctor and this and that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was something new in the show they added. She wasn't in the game.
No, yeah, no, you're
So
right.
yeah, we get
you're
a
right,
small
yeah.
introduction with her.
Uh-huh.
That you get you get a glimpse that she's the fucking leader of this group or this thing that she's
This
doing.
resistance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we jump to Sam and Sam.
Sam and Sam.
Yeah.
Well, her name is Kathleen.
Yeah, I forgot her name, but yeah.
I was gonna start with that too. I was gonna say in the next episode we get the introduction of her as this leader and how they ended up kind of running Fedra or the military out of Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a fucking ruthless leader, and you find out that she's looking for Sam and Henry. You don't know why exactly at first, but you just know that she's on a fucking crusade to find them two. And we get a little bit of well, before I talk about that, there's a huge character change for Sam in the show. He's deaf, which he wasn't in the game. He's also, I think they kind of younged him up a little bit. He's not as old, I think, because in the game he looked like he was 11, 12,
No,
I believe.
He was.
In the game.
I think Ellie said she was 14 and
Yes.
12. At 12, I think she said. Yeah.
That's what I said.
Mm-hmm.
And in the show, he looks a lot old. I think he's like 8.
Younger.
I think
Yeah.
8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of a big change, and I thought it was a better change too. I think even the creator himself said, like, why didn't I fucking think of that? But so we get them kind of sneaking their way through Kansas and trying to find a spot to hide, and they do. And we get the doctor, and this was before you said that they interrogated him, where they've been staying and holed up in this little, like, I don't know if it's like a fucking this like cellar
Attic?
of it's an attic and shit.
Mhm.
We find out that they only have so much supplies before they have to start moving, and it's like the dynamic between Sam and Henry is much more stronger here than the game too. We got a little bit
Just
more time
Like
to
leading up
spend with him. You know?
as gamers, playing the game first, then leading up to this episode, we knew what was gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
But for a little chance, we thought I thought they were gonna deviate, but no, they didn't. They stuck true.
Yeah, they stuck true.
We'll get there. But oh my
yeah,
god,
so
it was
so
so
then
intense for this episode for me especially.
we see that Sam and Henry they end up leaving because
Mhm.
the doctor doesn't come back. We know why, because Kathleen ends up killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And before they start planning their next, move, that's when we get to see like when Joel came in and got attacked by those raiders, and Sam and Henry, or not Sam, but Henry, kind of sees that and is like, he basically is like, we got this opportunity now. This guy knows what the fuck he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
If we follow him, which is essentially what they do, I can probably bargain my way to get out of here, and I can use him to,
Mm-hmm.
Which is what they do, because then we end up getting caught up from the end of the last episode, where Sam and Henry sneak up on them, and which is also kind of another telltale sign that like Joel's fucking deaf, because he couldn't hear them either. And so then we get to see Sam, Henry, Joel, and Ellie all together.
Mm-hmm.
And what I liked about Henry is like he was one step ahead of Joel. Like he knew what Joel wanted to do before he even said it. Like, I bet you guys are looking to get up on the top of the building to kind of get a better view.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, if you kind of let us hang out with you, I will show you, where you can go. I know this place in and out. What's the word that, or what was he? He was not a defector, but he was like, he was one of those people that like, snitched basically, right? Like that's what he ended up doing for Fendra. Like,
Yeah.
he would kind of, I forgot what the word is, but we find out that's who he is once he explains the plan to Joel. Like, look, the tunnels have been supposedly clear. I know this from a guy. There's no infected under there. Even if there is, you can clear them out. But this is our best chance of getting out of Kansas because we won't be caught. And they end up going through that. And we get introduced to this little like underground community that used to exist. Which also is
From the game.
from the game. And they wait it out for a little bit, before they continue on. And Henry kind of starts to almost like deduce who Joel is, like who he thinks he is, and he's not too far off, like, hey man, like you may not be her dad, but you were someone.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to relate to him and tries to justify what he did, and Sam tells Joel what he did, which is what? Go ahead.
Wait, what?
I'm letting, so you can talk more. What does Sam tell him, man? Like,
Let's do this. I don't know, fuckhead.
well, I'm waiting for you to interrupt me because you're really, well, hold on, because you missed the fucking key moment.
Well, yeah,
You're not gonna tell me what the key moment is here?
find the line or something. What is it?
That Sam fucking took, what was it? Like he fucking outed Kathleen's brother
yeah.
for in exchange for drugs, because his brother was or Sam was what is it, like had leukemia or something, I think.
Yeah, that led up to his Mm-hmm.
And that is the reason why Kathleen is looking for him,
Yeah.
because he's essentially responsible for having his brother killed.
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen's brother killed.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Kathleen is still fucking searching for them. She gets all these innocent people killed. Calls them rats and shit. Like, she is very fucking cold-hearted. Like, she tells I don't know what his name is, but basically Tommy. You know, the
Mhm.
voice actor who plays Tommy in The Last of Us. It was cool to see him kind of in the show, telling like, you burned the bodies. Like, let's, I don't know what the fuck you waiting for, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But then they end up leaving the underground and shit, and
It's nighttime.
it's nighttime. They seem to have escaped the worst of it.
Mhm.
Nope, because just like in the game, they get attacked by a fucking sniper. Except it's nighttime, not daytime, and Joel kind of just breezes through the neighborhood because, as you know, like in the game, you have to fight a bunch of raiders.
Yeah.
Gets to the sniper, kills him, and then that's when Kathleen and her fucking army catch
Shows
up with Sam and Henry,
Yeah.
and Sam or Henry for a moment. It's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking sacrifice
Okay.
myself. Basically, I'm gonna come out
Turn
and
myself in.
turn myself in, and Kathleen's ready to fucking shoot him. Like, you know how this is gonna end, blah blah blah. And right when she's about to fucking shoot him, which by the way, Joel ended up like shooting one of the trucks, crashes into a fucking house,
Yes.
goes up in flames, blows up. There's a fucking sinkhole, which a bunch of fucking infected have been hiding
And I
in.
guess that's new too. Like
That's they kind of are like a hive. They all
Yeah.
hide and together.
they
and
really
shit.
didn't explain it so much in the show. Like why a whole bunch of fucking infected live underground or something. You know.
Maybe they did. I just didn't pay attention. But yeah, they didn't
don't think
explain
they
too. Well, yeah. Okay, so then the infected come up,
That shit
and that
was
is probably the
bananas.
most intense scene. And fuck, we're 36 minutes. We're gonna have to.
What's wrong with that?
I don't want to like. We're basically summarizing the story here, but
We're getting there.
and then it's one of the most intense scenes of the show so far, where everyone's being attacked by fucking infected. We get our first bloater that comes up, and
How did you end up in that show? Huh?
fuck you, dude. And Kathleen's right hand man, I guess we're gonna call him the right hand man, okay?
Alright,
But he's
yeah.
Tommy, the voice actor of Tommy. I don't know. And he ends up getting fucking killed, very similarly to how Joel can
Gets
die
killed, yeah.
in the game by a
By
bloater.
bloater.
He gets,
That shit was
or
cool.
gets his fucking like head ripped off. That was pretty gory. Ellie's like trying to protect Sam and Henry and herself, and a lot of shit is fucking happening. Basically, all right. We're not gonna give you a beat by beat in this particular scene,
Yeah.
but Joel and Ellie, Sam and Henry end up escaping, seemingly unscathed, but we all know what's gonna happen next. Kathleen catches up to him, and she ends up getting fucking killed by a child clicker. Very poetic. We liked that. That was really good. Because I don't like her character. And then it seemed like, okay, maybe Sam and Henry will survive, but no, they don't, because
If
probably
you know,
one of the most shocking scenes in the game is when you find out that Sam is infected.
Mhm.
And in the show they do it much more. It's more fucking depressing than the game, because Ellie and Sam are talking with this little like what is it, like a magic board kind of thing, and
what's his name? Sam carried it throughout the episode. That's the way he communicates. It was through this
it was to that little board thing.
little board thing, yeah. And that's how he's communicating with Ellie.
And
They're talking.
he ends up kind of showing Ellie that he's infected, which he doesn't do in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they deviated again from the game, is when Ellie cuts herself and tries to like kind of smear
Her blood.
her blood over his wound, hopefully trying to like cure him or help him and everything. That doesn't end up working, because the next morning Sam is a zombie or an infected, and it all happens so fast, just like the game. She comes out, she's being attacked. It comes out, when I say comes out, like into the fucking like living room or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And Joel's about to shoot her, or shoot him, not shoot her, shoot Sam. And then Henry kills his own brother. and then he kills himself just like in the game. And I thought I'd be prepared for it, but again, I saw it coming, but it fucking hit me, man. Like, that was very, yeah, I think it was gut wrenching to see that happen again, you know? And I think that's the first time, I think we've seen it when they were talking about it, like post show, you know, how they have little, that this is the first time that Joel, like, is afraid of losing someone that he cares about after seeing what happened with Sam and Henry. And that's when we first start to see kind of like that attachment with Ellie, and how he doesn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And Ellie, this is like her second time losing someone that she was starting to get close to. The first one being Tess, and now Sam and Henry.
What do you mean? And Riley?
We're not there yet, are we?
But she lost her too.
Yeah, she does too. But you want to talk about the episode now?
Oh, like it's a fucking surprise, dickhead. Everybody knows her.
We're talking about the show. If people haven't watched it, Eric.
Our audience of 11 people fucking play video games, okay? You don't think they played that?
All right, dude, take it away, man.
All right,
take away the next episode then.
Next
you
episode
wanna
opens up
start,
in the winter time, okay? I guess they ended up in Wyoming, but lost. So they ended up in this cabin with these two indigenous people that live there. And Joe just tells them, hey, where are we at? We're lost. I'm looking for my brother. Have you seen him? The guy says no. Says, point me to the direction of where I'm going. And he does. Said, but they call it the River of Death, I think. Because I guess that's where people die. And that kind of scares Joe a little bit.
Yeah, we see moments of that in the episode where it's like it's really getting to him.
Yeah.
He gets things like panic attacks, you know?
When he leaves, that's when he gets his first panic attack.
Which we don't see in the game at all, by the
No.
way. In the game, it's wildly different. But I guess our 11 people already know about that, huh? Because they played the game. Go ahead.
Fuck you. Let's see, I lost my train of thought. Okay, now they show up where his brother's at, but they get surrounded by the peoples that live around there.
Yep.
And they just, hey, we're just passing through. But it's okay, but we got to test if you're infected. They have this dog that supposedly can detect if you're infected. And Joel gets a fucking kind of like a panic attack. And
well, he doesn't get a panic attack. He freezes up. He doesn't know what to do.
But you can see it. And he explains it later in the episode. And the dog goes up to him. Nothing happens. And it tenses up when she goes to Ellie, or the dog goes to Ellie. And in his mind's like, oh my god, this dog's gonna fucking kill her. And like you say, he freezes up. He doesn't know what to do. But it ends up that the dog, I guess, didn't detect it on her. And these characters, I don't know how you want to call these groups of people that found them, but takes them back to the place.
To Jacksonville?
To Jackson. And that's where he finds his brother, Tommy.
Jacksonville. I always said Jacksonville. God.
And you get to see this moment together, you know?
Yeah, the reunion.
Yeah, the reunion.
They reunited. I liked that moment a lot.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts of the episode, was seeing Joel kind of scream out for fucking Tommy and them hugging, and Tommy was like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I was like, "I came to fucking rescue you, basically." You know? Yeah. He didn't need no rescuing. Tommy's doing just fine. He's living with this fucking community. Mm-hmm. He has a wife, maybe, I guess that's
That's his wife.
And what I thought was kind of cool is that a few episodes before, Joel doesn't call Ellie family. You know, it's like she's cargo.
Mm-hmm.
But in this episode, when they're in the dinner table and they're eating, Joel makes a comment to, I forget her name. Maria. Telling her, like, oh, this is great and all. We appreciate the hospitality, but, you know, we'd like to have time with, you know, for family. And he says that to Maria and does not dismiss Ellie, which in a way kind of includes Ellie in this little family of theirs now. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was kind of a cool little detail. Um, but they get shown around Jackson, and we get to see how they're living. And it seems pretty normal, you know. It's like they're operating well enough, you know. They got fucking electricity, they got food, they got pumpkin pie. You know, I don't know if you noticed the food that was on their plate. And they're watching movies now. It's like it's another, like, it's a sense of normalcy again, almost for them. But you can tell Ellie has a kind of bad time, like, not a bad time, but like it's taken a while to adjust to all of this. Because for the past few months, or for her whole life, she's only ever known about kind of surviving and how cruel the world is. And for the first time, they're kind of like disarmed. You know, they're not having to worry about infected or raiders and all that. And then we get the like a heart to heart with Joel and Tommy, where Tommy at the end of this conversation, they get like a heated kind of argument between each other and talking about what they used to do, like, oh, you know, we did bad things and blah blah blah. But that Tommy's gonna be a dad, and you know, I think I might be a good dad. I'm really excited for it. And Joel makes this like slight to him, like, yeah, well, you know, we'll see. And after all these like years of not seeing each other, that's all Joel has to say to him when it comes to Tommy being a father. And it shows that, yeah, they still have some issues to resolve, to work out. And we get a little bit of Ellie and Maria, you know, where Ellie's I guess this is like the first time she finds out about like Sarah.
Yes.
You know, and you can see how like guarded she is, because she doesn't really want to talk to
Who's
Maria.
guarded?
What?
Who's guarded?
Ellie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ellie.
Again, and something they added to the show is that also Maria lost a kid. You know, and that's when Ellie says, "Oh, Tommy and you lost a kid." So no, just me. Tommy lost, you know, Joel's daughter.
Oh, yeah, we put Sarah because it's Joel's daughter.
Yeah, and that's when Ellie
starts to find out more about Joel, and that Joel's keeping things from her. And then you see how like she just so out of place when she's like, "Oh, let's go watch a movie," and she doesn't really seem that into it. She walks away, kind of goes on her own. And then we see Joel. I guess he's like still a little bit bitter about the argument they had, and he's kind of like trying to repair his boots or whatever. Tommy comes in and kind of like, "Here's some new pair of boots, you know, you don't have to worry about fixing it." And this is probably really where they flesh out Joel the most in the show versus the video game, where Joel admits basically to Tommy, like, Ellie's immune. I've been with her for months. She hasn't turned. What's wrong? What?
turn that shit down.
Dude, it's at 5. I don't know what the fuck.
Okay, go.
And he explains to him that
Ellie's immune.
Yeah.
He has to do this. Take her to.
Hold on. Oh my god. Tommy's like a little bit upset initially that, like, you know, he was about to fucking like, and then, you know, about to leave. And Joel tells him, like, no, like, it's real. This is real. She's fucking immune. And there's supposedly some fireflies over at this like hospital and shit. And I just can't do it. You know, there's been times where throughout these past few days where I've just like been seizing up. I've had these panic attacks. I'm not, you know, basically I'm not built for this. Every fucking time I sleep, I'm failing in my dreams. I keep having like these nightmares, and like I'm burnt out. Like I can't go through with this, and I don't want to lose Ellie, because I know how important, you know, this whole situation is, and he's trying to ask Tommy for one last favor, you know, like, do this for me, you know, go and take Ellie to this hospital, and I will never ask anything of you again.
Mm-hmm.
Did I nail it or what? Is there something else you want to say or what?
No, well, leading up to that and going back to the house, I guess Allie was overhearing that, what he was telling to Tommy.
Yeah.
You know? I just want to put something in here. The last episode or 2 episodes before, when he got attacked with the Raiders with the car and all that, there's people, on the internet, especially TikTok, saying if Joel was too soft. You know?
Go ahead. I know you have.
And that really bugged me. It's like, this is like the 3rd episode in or 4th episode in, and you guys already critiquing the way he is. If he's too soft, what do you mean? There's moments that he tells that he was a fucking bad guy. He would kill people. Bad and good. Okay? How's that being weak? And this and that. And that kind of like, you guys, come on. This is too early in the show to fucking say if he's soft or not, right? And him doing that speech to his brother saying, I can't do this shit no more. That fucking tells you then why he's so-called fucking soft.
Well, it's not that he's soft. It's just that, like, he's always been, like, afraid, Like, he obviously, like, masks it. He goes through what he has to.
Not only that, he would say, if I could, he tells him when he got attacked, he said, back in, a couple of years ago, I could have, got him. I could have heard him coming, behind me. So I can't, and I'm getting old. I can't do this.
Old, yeah.
And that makes sense, That's what happens. And you guys over here fucking just, critiquing, if he was soft or not. No, he...
Yeah, because, it's very easy to critique that, because in the fucking game, you're the one who's doing all these, like, you're killing all these raiders and these infected, but it's like, in the show, it has to be fucking different, man.
Yeah.
He's not going to, like, crouch and be able to fucking get up with no fucking hesitation. And then the show's, like, you can tell that he's, like, a bit, he has a fucking, shit.
Yes.
Oh my god. I get fucking tongue-tied now, man. He just isn't what he used to be.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, god damn. Yeah, and then we get that intense, that dramatic scene with Ellie and Joel, from the game, where Ellie's like, telling him, like, you're the, everyone who I ever cared about is, like, either left me or died, and it's like everyone except for you. And Joel is like, or Ellie brings up Sarah for like a split second. You can see Joel doesn't want to fucking talk about it. Tells her that he'd be safer off with Tommy, just like in the game. And they did it so fucking perfectly.
Yeah.
There was no notes on that. They did fucking great. And of course we think, the next morning that Tommy's gonna go through with it. They go to the stables. We see Joel's getting a horse ready. Tells Ellie, like, you should have a choice. And before he can even tell her, she chooses to go with Joel. Says goodbye to Tommy. That's it. That's the last we see of Tommy, of course, until season 2. They start traveling to the hospital, and things kind of speed up a bit. Towards the end of the episode.
We can skim through. You know, they end up in Colorado, where his brother said they're going to be at the Fireflies.
They're not there. They were there, but they obviously moved locations.
In the game, I'm not sure if they did in the show, but in the game, they find a tape recorder explaining what happened there, and why they left. How they in this one? How do they do it? Do you remember? What they left a note, or I don't know, right?
Yeah, it's like on the map that shows.
Oh yeah,
they went.
the map thing that they moved to Utah. That's their next location. And
then they get ambushed by raiders.
Yep.
Joel gets stabbed. We're not going to talk about how it's different from the game or whatever, because we're getting up here towards the end now. Yeah, and then he loses a lot of blood. He passes out as they're traveling away, and that next episode is the whole Left Behind DLC, which anyone who's played that knows how fucking heartbreaking that DLC is to play through. Are you okay? What's going on?
I'm crying.
My God, is this like the last time that we recorded? You were bleeding from your forehead.
Yeah.
You're fucking crying.
Yeah.
What's going on now?
I don't know. My eyes bother me. God damn, just go.
We get the it's because you breathe. I can hear you breathing heavy in the microphone, dude. We get the Left Behind DLC where we get to see more of Ellie's backstory before she meets Joel, and that she's had this best friend Riley who kind of left to go join the Fireflies. And the whole episode is just them reuniting and going through this mall, and by her I mean Riley showing Ellie, like, you know, all these, I think she called it like the 3 wonders or whatever of the fucking mall and shit. And they kind of try to patch whatever kind of animosity they had toward each other before she left. And by the end of it, we find out that Riley has been put like on this like guard duty, and that's why she knows about the mall. And that she, Ellie kind of was telling her before, like, oh, do you still bomb people? Do you still, like, you know, go and do these like terrorist acts or whatever? Riley reassures her that she doesn't, and blah blah blah. But it turns out that she does. She lied to her, and Ellie, you know, is about to leave. You know, Riley catches up, or not. Riley doesn't catch up to her, but
No, it's
lures her into like the Halloween store, basically.
well, yeah,
right?
you hear screaming.
Yeah, and then while they're going through all this shit, we get to see that there's an infected in the episode, or in the mall, I mean, and yeah. So she gets to the Halloween store, right, and that's when they kind of make up again. They're friends, but throughout the whole episode, you see that there's a bit of like, you know, a romantic like tension between them, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not until towards the end of the episode where, you know, they're standing up in this, like, from the game, you know, they're dancing with the Halloween masks on and shit. And Allie basically just tells her, like, just, you know, don't go, please stay. And Riley agrees. And for a moment, you think that, as an audience, you think they're finally going to be together. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. It's not, because shortly after they share this, like, passionate kiss, they're attacked by the infected person, the infected zombie, right? And they go through a bit of a scuffle.
Yeah.
They kill the infected, only to find out that both of them are infected. And while this whole episode is going on, we see Ellie in the present, where she's holed up in this house with Joel, and she's trying to, like, patch him up and take care of him. And all of it's going through her mind as she's trying to find something to patch him up with. She ends up kind of finding out that she's infected, and so is Riley. And we don't get to see what happens, but you obviously know what happens. They end up waiting it out. And that's that. But Ellie finds, like, the kind of the needle and the thread to fucking stitch up Joel.
That's how.
And that's how that episode ends. And then we got 2 last episodes. So let's talk about the last 2 episodes. Because that's probably the most, like, nail biting episode, you know, where Ellie's been trying to look for medicine and food for both of them. She goes out and tries to hunt for deer.
Oh, I'm down there. Jesus. In the beginning of this episode, they introduced these groups. Oh, this group, sorry. What's his name? Henry? No. Wait.
No, David.
Henry. And it opens up him preaching the Bible and stuff. And I guess that little girl was crying, right? Or no, was that later on? I don't know.
Yeah, crying, yeah.
Well, after he did his little preachy thing, everybody goes back to their houses, and Troy Baker's character say, "Hey, we're running out of food." But we saw a couple deer up down the fucking road and this and that. And David, they introduced him as in the game we don't see that he was a preacher, or later on in this episode it's introduced that he's a teacher before everything happened, but he was a fucking like
he was like a sexual predator, basically. Yeah. Which makes it even 10 times worse and scarier.
But so we see Ellie hunting. She hunts down a deer.
She comes across David and
Joseph.
We're just gonna call him Troy Baker. Dude. I'm fucking we're almost towards the end of the episode. So, and she ends up getting medicine in exchange for the deer. And David ends up telling Ellie, like, oh, well, just like the game, he's like, some of my men were fucking killed, and the ones who survived said that they were attacked by, get this, a fucking man and a little girl. And he says he believes in fate and all this fucking weird Bible shit. And Ellie was like, oh, fuck, I gotta, get the fuck out of here. And she does. She dips. She takes the medicine, goes back to Joel, injects the penicillin. Am I saying the right? Penicillin?
Penicillin, yeah.
And she does that like twice, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, the fucking raiders start looking for her. They find her.
Oh.
Okay.
Cut to the raiders, or whatever you want to call this group. They're cooking. Okay. And they bring out the meat, and it says it's a bison, I think.
Yeah, but it's not, dude. It's fucking human
so
meat.
So it's hinted that they've been feeding, people. And
so they're cannibals, man.
Yeah.
And
he tells the group, "Hey, we found the two that killed our scavengers, and we're gonna get them," and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then cut to the raiders go into town.
Right. Okay, and then
Ellie sees them. She distracts them, but
she diverts them away from Joel.
Tells Joe, like, Joe, hey, if they come in,
here's a fucking
knife. You know what to do.
You know what to do.
Poke out.
And Ellie gets captured.
Wait, Dave.
By fucking Troy Baker, and Joel, kills that one dude, but he's still fucking trying to recover and everything. And then Ellie wakes up in her little
cage.
In a little cage, not a cage. It's a fucking cell. And David is like, oh, you're not like all the others, and blah blah blah. And he basically tries to recruit her, but in a very creepy way.
Yes.
And Ellie was like,
no.
Tries to, lure him to say, like, oh, yeah, whatever, like, sense of false security and shit. Bites her.
He breaks his finger.
No, he breaks his fucking... She breaks her finger. And David's like, all right, fucking just you wait. He leaves. Yeah. And then Joel is out here fucking interrogating people. Just like from the game, fucking stabs that guy and says, I'm about to pop your kneecap if you don't fucking tell me where she is.
Oh my god, did you seen that live action too? Fucking was great.
That was really cool, man. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you better point it, and your buddy boy over there better point, you better not be lying and shit, or whatever. And he kills them both, fucking ruthless, takes Allie's backpack, goes out to look for her. Allie gets, held pinned down on this table. David's about to fucking kill her. Troy Baker's there, and Allie's like, "Oh no, don't do it! I'm infected." And shit.
Now I hate how we're doing this so fucking fast. It seems like we're fucking just.
Well, because we're almost. I think we're at an hour now.
I think we're in an hour.
Oh, we're past an hour, dickhead. So we gotta hurry up.
All right, then she tells him she's infected.
Yeah, she's infected, and David's like, no, you're not, dude. You're not fucking...
Then shot to the head.
Can you hold the fuck on? Okay? Shit, we're not supposed to...
Albert!
Both people can't talk at the same time, all right?
God damn.
One of us has to fucking talk.
Then hurry the fuck up!
That's what I'm doing!
No, you don't.
Yeah, look, David's about to fucking like, oh, no, you're not infected or whatever. I don't buy in that shit. He fucking puts the cleaver down, and and fucking she grabs it, fucking kills Troy Baker. Troy Baker dies. She ends up escaping, and then we get the whole scene with the whole fucking
restaurant.
The restaurant's on fire. I forgot how it got on fire, whatever. And And Ellie looks like she's about to die. David pins her down, and he has the fucking hatchet from before, and then like goes without saying, this is my favorite part. He's like, oh, you fucking sicko. And then Ellie finally gets the cleaver, fucking kills David, just turns him into fucking little bits and pieces and shit. We don't see it, but you get the point. And then she leaves. She's all fucking traumatized. Joel finds her and snaps her out of it, hugs her, and calls her baby girl like he did in the game. Very touching moment. But you can tell Ellie's never going to be the same again. Because the next episode, the final episode, she's also still very much like, because of course, why wouldn't she be traumatized?
Not only that, but she had a
thing.
lot in her mind.
She had, yeah, she did. So yeah, and then Joel's out here finding fucking Chef Boyardee and shit, and Ellie's just in a trance, whatever. She's zoning out. She's miles away. Joel has to kind of like snap her out of it every now and again. And it's like, oh, we'll find a guitar and I'll start playing again because I wanted to be a musician, whatever. And we get this sweet moment when they find the giraffe, from the game. It was a real giraffe, by the way. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was CGI, but it wasn't. And then, and then after that, Ellie was like telling her, Joel was telling Ellie, they're like, look, we don't have to go, man. We can go back to Jackson. We can go back with Tommy and
be a
forget all this shit, dude. And Ellie was like this can't be for nothing, and like after this we can do whatever the fuck you want. I'll follow you everywhere, and that's kind of sweet. And they keep going, and then Joel reveals to Ellie about like the whole because he said the reason why he was deaf was because he was like in a shootout or whatever, and blah blah blah, this and that. Why were you looking like that for?
I don't think he said that.
Yeah, he said like he got it from being shot at or whatever.
No, but not because of being, or really?
Yeah, that's the excuse he tells her.
Okay, go.
And bitch. And then he's like, oh well, the reason why is because I tried to fucking kill myself after Sarah died, and he said I was ready to go through with it. I was sure of this moment, but at the very last minute I flinched and I didn't go through with it. And I really like the moment where Ellie tells him, I guess time heals all wounds, and he said it wasn't time that did it, that it was Ellie who healed his wounds. And Ellie understands finally like how much she means to him, and then Joel's like, you know what, I'm in the mood for fucking Chef ID and some puns. Yeah. And she tells him puns and all that, and then they get ambushed by fucking fireflies, which, by the way, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to fucking flashbang them and shit. Like, you don't think they'd be looking out for Joel and Ellie, like, the only two people that they know, there's a girl there, pretty sure it's fucking Ellie, they didn't have to do it, whatever. Joel wakes up after being flashbanged and concussed and hit by fucking the fireflies. Marlene is there, and she realizes that this isn't the same Joel from... Go ahead, Eder. Go ahead. Please, go ahead. Because it seems like you want to just always step in. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can just finish it here and just call it,
Oh, don't threaten me with a good time, all right, Eder? And this is not the same Joel that she met from a fucking year ago. He's clearly attached to Ellie, and you see that when he wakes up and asks where Ellie is, and Marlene says that she's being prepped for surgery, explains to Joel her immunity and why she's immune, and that this unknown, unnamed fucking surgeon, this doctor, says that, she was fucking immune since birth. When Anna was fucking... Oh, shit, we skipped past that shit, but it doesn't matter now. That's how she got immune, and that, the cordyceps in her brain makes her so that she's, not cordyceps or whatever. Like it reads her as not that. And then Joel's like, oh, well, the cordyceps are in the brain and shit like that. And then we all know what that means. And Marlene's like, oh, well, just don't fucking whatever, man. Don't be a bitch about this. And Joel's like, find someone else. And Marlene basically tells her boys, her guards, like, hey, just take him to the outskirts of the city, give him his backpack, whatever. And you know what's going to happen. Joel ends up fighting back. As he's being escorted away, he kills the 2 guards with the intention of fucking saving Ellie. And he goes on a fucking rampage. And it's like a montage. And you don't hear anything because it's all fucking muted. But he's fucking shit up. He's like John Wick at this moment. And you see it. Like, he's not just a survivor now. He's a fucking father trying to save his daughter. And he reaches the operating room, kills the fucking surgeon with no hesitation, and fucking, I don't know if he kills the nurses though, because he's just to turn around or whatever, and takes Ellie, and as he's leaving, gets caught by Marlene. It's like, you still not too late. You haven't done anything we can't forgive. And Joel fucking shoots her. And
thanks for her life.
Puts Ellie in the car. Marlene's like, please don't kill me, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you just come after her. And shoots her right in the head.
Just like in the game.
Ellie wakes up as they're driving to Jacksonville. And Joel's like, oh, take it easy. The drugs are still wearing off. And Ellie's like, what happened? And then Joel lies to her and tells her, like, they ran some tests. There is no cure. Turns out that there's dozens of people like you who are immune, that they've been doing this shit for a long time, and they can't find a cure. And once I whatever, and we were attacked by raiders, supposedly, he said. And she asks if Marlene's okay. Joel doesn't say anything, which implies that Marlene's dead. Allie's still fucking tired, so she rolls over and sleeps. And Joel says, I'm sorry. The car breaks down. They have like a 5-hour hike left to Jackson. And you can see that Ellie, as she's coming to, she's like, I don't know if I trust him, but whatever, let's keep going. And as they're heading to Jackson, Joel is like, oh, you and Sarah would have gotten along just fine, blah, blah, blah. You guys would be great friends. And Ellie's still kind of just in this, like,
if she believes him or not.
Yeah, believes him or not. And tells him, like, look, let's stop, before we go anywhere else. When you asked me if, we've killed anybody before, and if I killed anyone, he said, she says that she killed her best friend Riley, and that, like, but what did she have to say after that? She killed Riley, and that she was the first person that she loved and lost, and then it was Sam and Henry, and Joel's like, oh, that wasn't on you, and blah blah blah, and she stops him and is like, look, like, before we go through with this, before we go back to Jackson, just tell me what you said to me back there. Were you lying or were you telling the truth? Like, swear. And Joel says, I swear that I'm not lying. She says, okay. End credits.
Just like the game. And God, it was like the shortest episode, but I mean, and I know a lot of people had a lot of shit to say about, like, oh, I did it. To me, it felt like it was kind of like rushed within like the 47 minutes that we got. But it wasn't, how do you say, it really didn't bother me, but I just noticed that it was like being rushed, and it was one of the shortest episodes, for a season finale. But it was okay. They did
they did what they were supposed to do, and yeah, like, it was good. And just like I did with the game, I felt like that's how it should end. But we all know it's not, because Naughty Dog fucking made the second one. And I'm sure when the second season comes out, we'll be fucking talking about what we think of The Last of Us Part 2. But just so you know, if you didn't see the episode where I think we had Maurice on when we talked about it, but just in case you don't know what we think, at least, no, we both think the same thing. The Last of Us Part 2 is was not as good as the first one, to put it lightly. It really did a lot of decisions that I fucking hated.
We talked about it so many times here.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we're not going to get into that.
I would say that, yeah, it's one of the best shows of the year so far. They did a fucking amazing job. They so-called cracked the code into turning video games into a film, or whatever sort of media you want to, like into film or show. They cracked it. They fucking did it.
Yep.
And it goes to show, all right? And hopefully it comes out on Blu-ray, because we're going to get that shit.
On Blu-ray or 4K?
We don't know yet. And that's how great the show was, okay?
Yeah, and it's a high bar now for I hope other studios who think about fucking adapting a video game to TV show or movie like God of War, which is gonna be made soon. I hope they take fucking notes. This is how you fucking do it. All these people who are like, oh, it's okay, we don't have to look at the source material. Like, you know what fucking pissed me off? I watched the Halo show last year. And the creator said that they did not play the games. They didn't look at anything about the source material of the game. And it fucking showed. And it's embarrassing that they say that shit and they had full confidence that the show was going to be good. And then The Last of Us came out and said, hold my beer, this is how you fucking do it. And I hope that people, creators, writers, whatever, who are wanting to make a video game movie or show, this is how you fucking do it. This is how you do it. Because they did a fucking fantastic job. And it's a high bar that's been set. My only question is now, is Super Mario Brothers going to be able to surpass that?
For fuck's sake.
Because we're going to talk about it when the movie comes out.
I say it right now, okay? This movie is going to be great. It has a great cast. It has Jack Black. It has Charlie Day. It has what's his name? Chris Pratt.
There's one more, come on.
And that's all you need, man.
Whatever. Dude.
It's been two brothers, guys.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Okay.
All right.
Two brothers.